Stanky.
Stop it.
Very stinky.
Stop it. I fucking knew it. You're such a
It's
dick.
so stinky. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see you. Welcome back. My name is Dean, and we are here yet again for another day. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. And here we are. My name is Dean. That is Lachlan Cross from the radio station in Edmonton known as 957 cruisefm.ca. We're going to talk about radio today, by the way. We got a couple radio people on the show. Yeah. We're going to talk. New radio regulations came out in Canada today. They've been updating them for 23 years. We'll share with you the progress that they made over that 23-year period. It's fascinating.
Well, this is the Liberal government, so I'm not surprised at what came down. Yeah.
Did you read any of it? Did you see any of it?
No, I got the Coles notes.
Oh, it's a beauty. It's if you wanted to see how useless Canada is, study our traditional media and their governing bodies. Yeah. What a fucking rush that was today. New radio regulations. They've been working on them for a quarter century. They come out and they're like, nothing's changing. It's the best. It's the best. I've had like 10 phone calls today from people going, can you believe this? I'm like, guys, I'm not in radio anymore. Like, I don't care. There are no regulations on the internet unless you count YouTube as a gray regulator, which they are, very gray. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. And let's bring in our guest today because she's in radio too, was in radio for a long period of time. She's got a podcast called Let's Take This Outside. One of my favorite people, Marianne Iveson, ladies and gentlemen. Marianne Iveson is here. Nice to see you.
I wish that about 8 minutes ago we were able to air the questions that Lachlan Cross was asking me, but we can't. So
why can't we?
We could air them.
We could air them.
We can talk about it. Yeah.
We can't go back. We didn't record it, but we could dip our toe into those waters.
Yeah, we could. We're not going to dive too deep into it. So Lachlan joins. So Dean and I are already on backstage, and Locke joins, and he's automatically in my position in the bottom. And so Dean switches me to put me on the bottom. And I said, because I like to think I'm pretty funny, I said, why can't I be on top? And then Lachlan Cross went on to ask me a super personal question. He's like, okay, serious question. Which way do you like it? And I'm like, look, we're not.
You a top or a bottom?
Okay,
we're not having this conversation.
I will say this.
We're not doing it.
It's one of those questions that if this is a real job, like if this is a real place of work where we had a human resources department, it's one of those questions Lachlan would never ask. But because we're all collegial around here, Marianne's just one of the girls.
That I'm collegial.
She's like, hey, I want to be in the top box on the screen during the stream. And
I
I'm
don't
like,
think there's anything wrong with that.
I said it like I'd like to be on top. Why am I like? Because I meant it in a way. Like I was trying to be funny.
You were double entendre-ing.
Yeah.
Doing.
But
so you opened the pervert door for Lachlan. And he just walked right through.
But I said, I think it's interesting because I think you're an aggressive type of personality, which I appreciate. I appreciate people that are willing to step out and say what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. They have the courage to make a joke like that. And so I was asking legitimately, are you the type that takes the boy home and makes the calls? And I think you are. And you kind of said you were.
Well,
right?
I'm not answering that question, but thank you for answering it for me. But you know what's funny is, you know what's funny though is that you asked, like, I didn't really take any offense to it because first of all, it's you and I don't really care.
It's how I asked.
But secondly, you asked me like it was like we were in science class. You asked me like it was like we were opening up a textbook and you asked me that way. You didn't ask me in like a weird way or like a perverted way. No. It was like very like just data oriented. Like it was like you were collecting some data for a project.
Yeah, data on your sexual proclivities. That's what he was like. So, but like he's standing here going. It was the fascinating part was like it was the first thing I thought too because I knew what you were leaning into when you said it. Where you're like, I want to be on top, and then Lachlan's face was like this. It was almost like he went into a sexual trance where he's like, she's opened the door. Here
To
I
be
go.
fair, do you know what the best part about this is? Lachlan hadn't even said hello to me yet. He hadn't
know.
said any words to me. The
I know.
first word he said to me was asking me that question. There was no pleasantries beforehand. It was just jumping right in.
Well,
It's
there you
Nice to
go.
see you
interesting, though.
guys.
I think there's so much baggage with a conversation around sex, right? Honestly, and relationships and how people
Mhm.
interact. And can we get into the Ask Amy thing right away?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great place to pivot because you were talking about it on your show today.
Yeah. Yes.
If you listen to The Locker Room, 957cruisefm.ca, you get a chance to listen to Lachlan every
What a-
single weekday morning. Nice plug, eh? I'm a plugger. I'm a bit of a plugger
Great
over
plug
here.
and great transition. I have to say, I'm going to point
you.
out the obvious.
Yeah.
No, not you, him. Locke,
Okay.
no, for Locke to be able to transition like that was great. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, it was really good. Where he just says, "Hey, can we talk about this now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, great transition. You just said it
Well,
right out
I'm
loud."
not the driver on the show.
I know you're
although
not.
sometimes I step into that role unwanted.
Sometimes I do too.
But Lachlan on his show this morning was talking about this feature in the Washington Post. It's called Ask Amy, and it's this woman who is an advice column. It's like a Dear Abby, right? It's called Ask Amy. Yeah, it's dating, relationships, that kind of bullshit. So one of the questions, and actually she responded to Lachlan. He's like, my answer didn't make me feel good. Sorry about Ask Amy. And she's like, I've seen worse. Lachlan's like, that makes me feel better. Thanks, Amy. He's like a collegial Twitter guy, isn't he? What a nice guy on Twitter this Lachlan is. But this was from a segment or someone that wrote in to ask her this question. Here's the question. Dear Amy, I dated C for only a month in 2020. C is, you can put whatever. Chris, you can do a different 4-letter word for C. Doesn't matter.
I hope it's Charlie.
Probably.
Sure.
I was obviously not long-term. Dated him for a month. Not long-term. I was the one who broke it off. I have not contacted him since. Recently logged on to Facebook for the first time in a long time, and I noticed that he has been messaging me over the course of the last 2 years as I messaging me for 2 years, which is odd since he has my phone number. Clearly, he wants to get back together. I have no interest in reconnecting with him. Now I'm wondering if I should tell him the reason I broke off the relationship. Telling him would be purely selfish and therapeutic. I never told him all the things that bothered me, and if I did now, I'd be finally able to get this off my chest. Additionally, maybe he'll be willing to take his feedback for what it is. I'm not claiming that I can change him, but what if my feedback helps? So this conversation you had centered around this, and her name is Hesitant. That's what she went by. The name is Hesitant. And the question she was asking is it okay to have a conversation with your ex to tell them what they did wrong after you broke up? Is that correct? That's what I got out of your conversation this morning on the radio.
Yes. But I made some jumps on this. I think that this was Ask Amy.
Yeah.
I think it was her, and she was just presenting this like it was somebody that was asking her advice. I don't know why, but I just did. See, and I immediately jumped into the role of somebody that would be willing to take advice or not willing to take advice. And I was like, man, does this make me look really selfish? Because I don't want to hear what she has to say. Or does it make me seem immature? Possibly
because you don't want to get any better at life. Is that what is that the thing? No, but what you're talking about is like, because this is what I got out of your conversation this morning on the radio. And after reading that piece, I was like, hang on a second. And maybe Marianne, you'd be able to chime in on this too.
I'm going to.
I thought, hang on a second. What a stupid fucking question. Should I call him and let him know what he did wrong in our relationship so he's better for it after dating that from who on earth, A, talks to their ex after they break up into a month-long relationship, B, who gives a shit about the other person and how well they're doing or what they've learned from you in your relationship, and C, who wants to fucking sit there and take those bullets like after you break up with someone where you're like, you know what? Hit me with it. Tell me all the terrible things about me so I might be better, when it's that much of a suggestive thing, right? Like that's the part that I thought was fucking crazy, because I've never done that. I've never said, you know what? Let's decamp our relationship and just feed it to me for a good hour to let me know how much of a doucher I was.
Have you ever wanted, can we just reverse that quickly? Have you ever wanted to, and then Marianne, you have to answer this. Have you ever wanted to phone one of your exes and tell them why it was that you decided that it was best that they're not sleeping in your bed anymore?
No, never once.
You've never wanted to?
No, never. You do that in the relationship, right? Where you're like, if you do this, we'd probably make it. if you just change these 12 things about yourself, we'd probably be able to really have a great relationship. But unfortunately, people can't
There
do
was
that.
some eye rolling, Mary.
Anyway, Marianne, your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you on this.
So Locke, ask the question again so I can answer clearly, because that went a little bit off
So-
track. Sorry.
If we'll put you in the position of the person that broke it off,
Okay, broke it off with someone, right?
Okay.
Didn't go well. Yep.
would you want to, if you maintained some level of communication with that ex and it was a short relationship, would you feel the need to want to explain to them why you
For
ended
their
it?
benefit.
I've
For their
never-
benefit.
I've never had that urge in my entire life. No, I've
See,
never had that urge. I've never had that urge to unless they asked for it, unless they said, how can I get better? What it like, and that's also never happened, was someone asking me my opinion. But no, I would never have the urge to, unless it was something like, okay, there was this guy.
We're gonna get a story. I love this.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah. I love
this
it.
is
Yeah, let's
fantastic.
go.
This
Let's
is
go
what I was
story
This was a
looking
while
for
ago.
this morning.
This was like probably a year ago or so. There was a guy who, I think I've told you about him before. It's the guy who was like swiping. It was like our third date, and he was like swiping during our date, and he was like texting girls on dating apps during our date. Did I ever tell you about this?
Yeah, a little bit. You told us about
So
it.
the same guy, I don't want to be shallow and rude, but here we go. He was going bald, which is totally fine. Like that's totally fine. But he didn't accept it so much so that he like did a very aggressive, like super
Comb over?
aggressive comb over. And there was a part of me afterwards that wanted to tell him. There's a part of me afterwards that wanted to tell him, like, dude, you got to give it up. You got to like
Let it go. Let it go.
because it was more it was more unattractive for, like, there were so many unattractive things about him, including the fact that we went to Costco once and he was pointing out all the things he's bought at Costco. That was also one of the things.
What a great flex. Hey, babe, you need 4 snow tires? I got
He was like, see that fireplace? I just bought that for the back. It was like $600. See those towels? Bought those towels.
See that 20-pound bag of trail mix? Got one of those at home. Yeah.
So you sounds like you're joking, but that's the way he acted. But let's go back to the comb over for a second. So
Where did you meet this guy?
It was
Online.
a dating app. It was a dating app.
All right.
Hell.
I can't
dating
believe we
apps are, hell. Stay away from.
It makes me want to vomit. So yeah, the comb over thing. I kind of wish that I would have been able to tell him, like, dude, you got to give it up. You got to like, you got to let it go, because it's more unattractive. What I was trying to say was it's more unattractive that he wasn't embracing it, that he wasn't embracing what the very obvious thing was happening. Does that make sense?
That's a great, You've kind of slid in the side door in this conversation, and you presented a new wrinkle, right? Like what Lachlan's talking about in relationships is like after it goes south, two people sit down and you exchange what you hated the most about the other human being. What you're talking about is is a real disgusting sort of wrinkle where you're like, interesting. Should I tell him that his comb over looks ridiculous and it's weird to flex with chicks at Costco? Like, should I tell him that? Because as a man, I've got friends that have tried to do the flick over. I've got friends that have tried the mirage of hair. And I've said the same. I'm not even in a relationship with him. I'm like, dude, come on over here. Let's have a little chat about your hair for a second. My buddy Barry, don't want to say his last name, Alan, nice guy. So my buddy Barron is like, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, you look ridiculous. He's a hairpiece on. I'm like, dude, no one wants to wear those anymore. Like, you're not Burt Reynolds. We know what's going on here. We know you're wearing a piece. You need to stop doing that.
Elon Musk has a hairpiece.
Elon Musk, well, he's got implants, but he can afford to make it look like they're not. But what you're talking about is the embarrassment of being with a dude who's like trying to trick the world when the whole world knows. You should probably tell that guy after, listen, the whole world knows you look ridiculous.
There's a difference. There's a difference between something very black and to me, that's black and white. There's a difference between that than saying to an ex or someone that you dated, you're like, you should be more emotionally available. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to like, that's not something, it's not that stuff. Although everyone I've dated seems to also be emotionally unavailable. But my point is that like, it's like when it's like so black and white like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of wish I was able to tell him just because it's so so obvious.
It's an insecurity, and unfortunately, it's they want to be something that they're not, and they're clinging to something. It's so sad to see, and you can just smell it on a lot of guys, right? Like if they just accepted their lot in life and just accepted who they were and where they were, they'd
And shave their
probably
fucking
be
heads.
way more successful with
but
the
I'm even
opposite sex, or even in general in any relationship. Like, I can't stand people that try to present something that they're not. You can feel it. It oozes out of them, right? Like,
you're right. But like I look back and like I'm friends or friendly with guys that I've dated in the past, and there's like no part of me that wants to say, this is what you did wrong, right? I think people have to figure that out by themselves or figure that out with their psychologist, because we all view the world in a different way, right? And I think if someone's not ready to hear that, then it's going to go on deaf ears. Honestly, I just think a lot of, I don't know about women, but I think a lot of men are not ready to hear the truth, or not ready to hear the honesty.
Well, I don't want to hear it. Like, that's the other thing is just, if a woman phoned me who I dated and she's like, I want to talk to you about our relationship, but I need to get some things off my chest, I'd be like this. Well, go ahead, but I don't want to be there. I mean, do what you got to do. I'll send you a cardboard cutout, but I don't feel like rehashing your grievances is like fucking relationship Festivus.
Torturous. That's torturous.
Yeah, let's go over this. Like, yeah, and here's the other thing. Who's to say who was right in that situation when they broke up too? Like, that's the other thing. This woman is sending
me a bill?
Amy, she's sending Amy this, and she's like, what do I tell? Maybe it was her. Maybe she didn't smell great. Maybe she was a wanker. Maybe she was annoying as fuck. There's a lot of situations that are at play here that we're like sitting here going, oh, like she's the measuring stick, or he's the measuring stick of who's right or wrong in a relationship, right? All that is just you getting your pound of flesh after you break up. That's all that is.
Marianne, I will fill in a bit of a blank on this conversation based on the article from Ask Amy. The woman that was asking for advice, which I still think is Ask Amy, was suggesting that she needed to do this because of why she left him. And it wasn't because he had a comb over and didn't show confidence or wasn't emotionally available. It was because he was a racist.
Oh,
he was stealing from his employer and something else.
Oh, that's like character flaws. Is this true?
Yes.
No, that's like a character flaw. And you know what, though? Also, a woman telling him this is not like, I don't know, like you're a thief. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a straight up character flaw. I don't think a woman that he dated saying you're a thief or you're a what.
You gave me herpes.
Racist.
Yeah, sure. Like, I don't think, or a racist. Like, I don't think a woman saying you're a racist is going to change his mind and make him, I guess I'm not a racist anymore. I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, I should stop being racist if I want to have a great relationship. That's a fun conversation too.
What
was wrong with us? Well, you're a white supremacist. You gave me herpes and you cheated on me 14 times. Other than that, it was a great relationship. Thanks a lot.
Maybe he'd do a better job of hiding it in the next one.
This is
Locke. Okay. Do you think that men overthink, like, if your wife is mad at you, or if like Dean, like an ex is mad at you, like, are you like constantly thinking like, what did I do wrong? Or do you actually are you actually aware, or like, are you actually right when they approach you? Like, are you aware of when you are doing something wrong or bugging someone?
Self-aware.
Self-awareness. Yeah.
Here's what I've learned.
This ought to be a great answer.
Being in a long-term relationship.
You're the only person here with a successful relationship. So
yes.
Yeah, and I've been with them. I've had dinner with them. Success is the operative word here.
Here's what I've learned about being in a long-term successful relationship.
You're still together.
Let's just long-term. Yeah.
Yes. So
stop it.
What?
He's only 52. They got lots of time. Like my buddy and his wife just split up. 63. I'm like, what are you guys doing breaking up? You've been married for 35 years. He's like, I don't know.
Good luck with dating in 2023, by the way. Anyway, Locke, sorry, what were you saying?
So the thing that I've learned is that I'm always right. But it's best.
No, I can't.
Marianne, it's best to present the illusion that I think there may be some room for growth.
Do you actually hold on? Do you actually think that you're always right? No, I'm not accepting this as an answer. Okay, like what kind of thing? Like a towel needs to be folded this way, or are you thinking like?
Come on, that ship sailed a long time ago.
Okay,
We don't have those fights anymore.
They have fights about why Lachlan. No, let me.
Okay,
because I was present for like a 5-hour Donnybrook with him and the missus.
It was
a 5-hour counseling session that I had nothing to do with. I was just there for it.
Totally.
I felt like I was in the room. I felt like I was in the room of counseling where it's like, okay, Dr. Johnson, what's wrong with this couple? And he's like, well, Dean, let me tell you, nothing's wrong with them. They have this incredibly unique relationship where Lachlan does whatever he wants and his wife gets mad at him for a couple months and lets him fucking have it. And then they reset the clock and they go at it again. They've been doing that for like 30 years. It's one of the coolest relationships I've ever fucking seen in my life. It really is.
I have no thoughts because I'm not married.
Marianne, I am a very self-centered,
okay.
Very
I can hear Dean sucking on his thing. It's so
no, I'm aware of this, and I'm actually working on this. I am in my own head, so I plow through life, avoiding what might be past or childhood trauma.
Okay.
And I have since buried it so fucking well.
Yeah.
That I'm existing in life like I'm winning. I have convinced myself that I am fucking doing such a good job because I've done such an amazing job
burying
not dealing with all my bullshit. Right?
How does your buried stuff come out? How does it manifest? Is it anger? What is it?
It doesn't. I don't let it.
He drinks in the basement.
No. It's drinking.
He gets hammered. Yeah, that's what he does.
Okay, yeah.
And can I just point out this one comment from Linda who's listening? Let me just bring this one comment up because I love Linda. I don't know who Linda is. She just left a comment in her comment section. By the way, you can watch this on YouTube.
Thanks,
subscribe
Linda.
on YouTube. Dean Blundell Show. She's like, Linda, and I fucking identify with this. This is why I'm single. Fuck dating. If I lost my husband tomorrow, I'm never dating again. I'm like, yeah, Linda. That's the ticket.
Yeah, Linda.
Loneliness rules. Just kidding.
Linda. Yeah, no, shout out Linda. Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good in 2020, almost 2023. Locke, did you have any more comments on your?
No. I wake up every morning and I lie to myself, and then I go about my day, and it works. That's a strategy, and I'm wildly successful at it.
Yeah.
I could write a fucking book. I could teach a course. I honestly, and again, everybody has their shit. My shit's minor compared to a lot of people. So you plow away, right? I like my job. I like my house. I love my wife. I love my kids.
Love your dog.
I love my dog, and I get through. I get by.
Love all your renters that keep greasing your palms with rent money every month as a slumlord. You love that too. You love having 6 to 7 Bud Lights a night. You have managed to fence yourself into this cozy lifestyle where you know what you're dealing with, and you're like, fuck, if I go to the grave with this PTSD, I go to the grave with it. But at the very least, you've been able to block it out.
Locke, you got a lot of things going for you.
Absolutely, I do. But I mean, I had to work for it. And it's everything I've got is.
Sorry, I just choked. I'm not laughing at you.
It was well timed.
I just choked.
She choked while she was laughing at you, talking about how much you got going on.
Sorry, that was terrible timing to choke.
I've also had, I've also been for the last 10 years. I've been doing yoga, and again, like I'll say this, I never got into this practice, and I think I'm 340 days into a full year here. I've been going every day since the beginning of the year, and I don't do an hour and a half, 2 hours. I do 35 minutes to an hour and 15, and I do it every day. Even when I was sick, I was doing it. Even when I was hungover, and I'll say this. If anybody ever wants to look into this, I did it because I got into it because my back. I broke my tailbone, and I put on a bunch of weight, and I just didn't feel good. I felt like shit for like 2-3 years. And so I started doing it, and I eased my way into it. After a couple of years, I was doing a fairly regular practice. And I gotta say, I don't think I meditate, and I don't know if I could explain what it is that I can achieve when I'm practicing, but there's this focus thing and a calming, because I have always been wired really, really fucking tight, that I just sort of stumbled on by accident. Because I used to get annoyed with the teachers that were like, all right, now we're going to do the yama hama hama I'm like, fuck off. I'm just here to sweat. Just fucking stop hitting that bowl. And fucking, I don't need you to light shit. Like, just fucking tell me what pose to get into. So I've gotten into a part of the practice that has benefited me mentally. And you know what? I haven't talked about that with too many people, because I feel like I would be, people would judge me based on the fact that as soon as I finish yoga, I start drinking.
Locke, by the way, if there's any people to talk to, okay, maybe not him, but if there's anyone to talk to about like stillness and feeling better and finding your thing, I think like, not you. No,
Me.
not you.
Oh.
Absolutely not you.
Why
No,
not? I'm a pretty good dude.
I know that you're pretty good.
I'm into philosophy. I love wellness.
Guy.
I like that stuff. I like what Lachlan's talking about. I mean, he's super backwards and it doesn't work, but he's figured it out for himself, right? Let's just get drunk.
I think everybody's got to get their own way.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You have to.
Mine's outside, right? Mine's playing outside. Mine's like being athletic.
Yeah,
outside,
hiking,
right?
biking, skiing, all that stuff. That's what keeps you in the middle. That's what kind of brings you back to center. With Lachlan, it's no, and I fucking love him for it. And he'll sing his own praises. Where he's like, for me, it's yoga and Bud Light, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. With me, it's work, my kids, getting outside, and sleeping well. There's like 3 or 4 really important things that are really important to me, but it's also philosophy. It's also therapy. It's also the other stuff. And it works for me, right? And there's a lot of people that doesn't work for them. Like I was watching these people go off over the past few days on Karima. We've been watching this kind of crazy fucking left wing versus right wing bullshit. Yeah. And the one thing that I got out of that is all those people that are super angry on either side of the equation, you know, whether you're an alt-right person, you're a crazy left-wing nut commie weirdo, or you're a crazy right-wing fascist asshole, the one thing that I go back to every time is that all of those people are trying to tell everybody else how life is supposed to work, right?
Oh, exactly.
This is what you have to do. This is what's really going on. This is how life is. This is what you got to, and if you're not looking at it like this, then you're a terrible person. You're an awful person. And, you know, the fucking crazy part is all of those people are fucked in the head, like super fucked in the head, because they're chasing these things they can't control that are in other people's lives, right? Whereas guys like Lachlan go, hey, fuck, I'm just here. I drink my 6 beers. I do yoga. I'm a good husband, good dog owner, great dad, work hard. And I've figured out how to manage my life in my best interest. Same with you, Marianne. You like to get outside. You like to be with good people. You're very keen on wellness and your mind and your health and all the other things that go into it. And you've figured out some things along the way that work for you that keep you centered and keep you happy and keep you moving forward. The problem that we have is this, is that there are people that seem to think that they've figured it out. And the people that tell you that they have are always the people who have not. Zero. They've figured jack shit out. They're just like, I'm just part of the mob. And this part of the mob says, wow, we figured out all this shit. Well, they haven't figured anything out. The only thing that they figured out is they get better engagement when they're cocks online. Like that's the only thing that they figured out is, and you know, the fascinating part for me is, and I'm watching everybody tell everybody what they mean, what they think, who they're really all about. Nobody knows each other. Specifically online. Like I know me, I know what I'm all about. I know my frailties. I know the good things. I know the bad things. You do too. Karima does. Marianne does. Everybody here on this call has a decent self-aware understanding of what their good things are and what their bad things are, right? And I want to work on the bad things. You've got people out there, literally, and they make everybody feel like shit every day. Like it's just a fucking thing that they do, that feel like such garbage about their terrible fucking lives, that they create these weird personas online. Like, I am the arbiter of this.
Yeah.
I'm the person that the metric of that. I'm the ruling stick when it comes to this or that or the other. And then they'll tell you that you're out of favor. You're out of favor. And here's the incredible part. All of those people are just showing you what they want you to see. You don't know them. You've never met them. You don't know how terrible their lives are, or the fact that someone like Nora Loretto goes home and pets her cat and decides that she doesn't want to partake in the human race. She just wants to take shots from the side, or, you know, people that are trying to tell you that I'm the measuring stick for hate, or I'm the measuring stick for love, or I'm the measuring stick for online harassment. I'm the measuring stick and these people are bad. It is amazing because all of those people are the most lost cocks on the planet.
Yeah.
Like the most lost and useless individuals.
You know what my least favorite trend right now on Twitter is? I don't know if you guys get these or not. When people are like, here are the 5 things to master your life. And it's like this list of like, get up at 4 a.m. and take an ice bath. Get up and then at 5 o'clock, you're gonna like watch this thing and you're gonna like read and you're not gonna talk to anyone for 8 hours. And then at 10 o'clock, like there's like, have you seen these? Like these lists,
yeah.
like that, and I've started to hate them so much because I'm like, everyone's life is so different, and like you're not gonna like hack your goodness or hack your greatness with with something that works for you, sir. Sorry, that's not gonna happen. Anyway, those I have a pet peeve against those.
I find that
yeah,
I'm quite triggered by people that need to they need to share what they're doing to make their lives better, right? Almost from the perspective of, you need to try this because this is what I've been doing. I mean, there's exceptions to that.
Do I do that when I post selfies?
No.
You're showing you're writing for the brand. You're showing everybody what you do. You got a podcast called Let's Take This Outside. By the way, download, subscribe, Marianne Idison, Let's Take This Outside podcast. It's excellent. So you're supporting your brand. You're not like posting a selfie going, ladies, if you love yourself, make yourself up for you, not for him. And then posting a hot shot of yourself showing a little leg and some side boob. It's like, it's very different. It's very different.
Your approach,
that's not performative.
You can do that. You can be the
post side boob.
You can.
Side boob's good.
I mean, whatever.
You know what? I think there's this is interesting waters to sort of to delve into. From the perspective of, I think there are people out there that have a very unique perspective and have also this sort of approachable personality and type, where if they step up in a room and go, hey, I got an idea, or hey, have you tried this? Dean's got it. Marianne, you have it as well. But then there's a segment of that I call them searchers. And I didn't really know a lot of them until I got into yoga. And there's a lot of them in yoga. And they are looking for something to make their lives better. And quite often, a lot of them end up getting into like something on the wellness side, right? And they're gonna
kind of
fix your
pyramid
life.
scheme or some kind of
Or they're teachers or whatever. And again, those, I don't know what it is. I don't think we've quite hit on what it is that makes it okay to present something to somebody that might help them out. It's a tough one, because I think there are people out there that are really good at giving advice. And then I think there's some people, when they talk, I can't handle it. I'm just like, stop talking.
Well, everybody wants to tell you what your reality is. Did you know that? Have you noticed that on Twitter? Everybody wants to tell you what you're all about, what you really meant by what you said. Then they want to drag you through the mud, and they want to tell you what your deal is. And then they want you to do things the way they do things, right? And the reason why they want that is because they suck at life. And they're like, I need some company over here in this cauldron of suck. And if I tell that guy to do what I'm doing, then I'll feel better about myself. Like, what I've been doing works. It doesn't work. It never works. It's why people are fucking losers. It's why extremists on the left, extremists on the right act the way they act. It's because they fucking have no moral compass whatsoever. They're just like, Oh, I found community. I found some people. I found some friends. And all of those people are telling each other it's fucking a group of people telling each other what to do. That's all it is. You got to do this. You got to do that. And then you got this vast group of people in the middle going, how about fuck yourself?
But I think people's insecurities, and maybe Marianne, you can help me out here on this, but I think people's insecurities shine through. And I think you can kind of see it on them. Yes, you can kind of smell it on them and it oozes out of them, and you might not be able to put your finger on it right away. But if they're in a position where they feel like they need to tell you how to live your life, and you can sort of sniff on them that they're not comfortable in their own skin and that they're really, really just trying to figure it out themselves. Right.
Like I even like look back on myself, and I'm still kind of wading through those waters and struggling a little bit. But I remember when I first launched my business and I was figuring things out, I was and like, when you lose your job, you become financially insecure, and like that's carried through for the last year and a half. And I found that like a lot of relationships, or not relationships, but like dates failed because I was so insecure just with myself. I was so insecure, like financially, and not knowing what the future looked like. And I look back and like, oh, like I like it came out in insecurity in so many other ways. So like looking back on that, I'm like, oh, it's something I'm still working on. But yeah, 100% the insecurities come through.
The interesting thing about that though is and I think this is why we like having you on, is because you're very honest and you're very self-aware. And the fact that you picked up on that, and the fact that you were able to sort of pinpoint that as a reason why you've had troubles, securing a relationship in the last year and a half, is I think that's huge. And I think that's what makes you easier to listen to on your podcast when you are giving advice or when you're presenting another option for people, right? That realness. It all boils down to being fucking yourself and just being real.
I think being honest, being real. Like now more than ever, I see people in certain industries who I know are struggling, who I know aren't doing well, and like I know factually, and they're like, everything's fine and everything's great. And they're like my life is so good. And on like social media, they're like, look,
go home and cry.
Look at all these things I'm doing. I'm so great. And I'm like, that's all bullshit. Because I know, because I used to be there, or I understand. So I find like when you go through the rocky water, you just become more honest. You're like, yeah, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. Some people can't. Some people, like, I think real friends and real people who love you can handle it, but I don't. Like, I think when I'm maybe overly honest too, if I'm dating someone new, they may not take that overly well, to be honest. But I'd rather just completely be myself and be loved for who I am, whether it's friendship
you have to. Nice. There's no other way.
Isn't that nice way? I'd rather be loved for who I am. It's good. That's why internet dating doesn't work, by the way. It's the same thing with Twitter. That's why internet dating doesn't work. Go ahead. Yes.
I need your opinion on a really, I think this is an unfortunate situation. So I went to the Bell store the other day and I got a new phone. I need a new phone plan. And this gentleman was actually like a little rude to me. And I'm like,
is Bell fire you? You might want to look at another option.
No, I needed like we have two options.
Mobile, maybe?
No, I needed like an American plan. I have a lot of American clients. I was like, whatever. But anyway, so this guy like convinced me to go with this plan, and he was like a little bit rude to me. He's like, I'm like, can I ask you another question? He's like, no more questions. He said to me, no more questions. And I was like,
it's his whole job. Answer those
questions.
Like,
sir, you get paid to answer. Like this is literally your entire job. And I ask a lot of questions because I'm super curious. And also, they make it so complicated. Can we, like, seriously, they make it so complicated when you're trading in a phone and they're like all these random fees and they try to like do the math, right? It's very upsetting. Anyway, so I'm asking them these questions because I don't want to be ripped off, right? Like that is why I'm asking questions, is because I don't want to be like hoodwinked, right? So this guy, like, he's a little bit rude to me, and I'm like, this is super weird. And I'm moving all my stuff over to this new phone. He needs my number, so I need to get like a connection fee waived. So he texts me, make sure my phone works. That's fine. And then I messaged him today and said, hey, like, I got my first bill. Can you waive the connection fee? And he's like, absolutely. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be good. And then he asked me, because we had talked a little bit about like the outdoors and what I do when I was in the store, because I was there for a long time. And he's like, do you ever go hiking at this place? And I said, yeah, I've been a few times. And I have a text message I haven't responded to yet. And
Read it.
This is from the Bell guy? The Bell guy's hitting on you?
Wait, let's hear it first. I don't know that's true. I don't want to hear it first. What do you got?
This is
It
awesome.
said, have you ever been to this place? And I said, yep, several times, kind of out of nowhere. Before we were talking about my wireless bill and my connection fee, by the way. Okay. This comes out of the blue. He says, oh, wow. Okay. I was going to see if you wanted to go for a trek with me next time I go.
The Bell Store guy's trying to pick up a client. Is that allowed?
So first of all, like, I'm not interested. I just want to point that out. Like, that's not.
Why? What's wrong with him? Does he have a hairpiece?
We're not going down this path. But other than but that's like very unprofessional, right?
I believe that's an abuse of privilege, if I'm not mistaken.
That's like right?
Yeah.
Like that's a problem, right?
I believe the Bell Store employee who was rude to you at first, who hit you up in your DMs effectively was like, want to go hike? I believe using company information
I don't even know what to say.
to try and get laid is probably a fucking terrible idea.
That's hitting on me, right? Like that's hitting on me.
Yes.
But like I'm so like alarmed that he like stepped over the privilege. Right?
Yeah. It's bizarre.
It doesn't even work there.
Some dude that likes you.
Locke isn't saying anything, but I'm curious to hear what Locke thinks because I might just not even respond, but I still want to make sure my connection fee is waived, so I'm not replying until it's waived.
Oh, don't listen. You need to grease him along a little bit where you're like, that sounds interesting. Do you think you might be able to give me a better package? Do you think you might be able to give me like unlimited data?
No, I got a better idea.
But if he liked me, if he actually liked me, he would have given me a better deal.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's trying to hose you. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I would do. Because
I'm so like I'm actually like it upsets me actually a bit that someone would use that right?
Yes, it's an abuse of power.
Okay,
That's what it is.
We're just spitballing. There's no bad ideas when you're brainstorming, right?
Someone in our chat department at deanblundell.com says get a 14 Pro out of it. Don't use the word package. There you go.
No, but I think you need to report him to somebody at Bell and see if you can get a free phone.
That's
right.
I tell you? Shelly McShane says, hang on for waiving the fee.
Right?
Ashley says, don't ask for a package. You're walking into that one. And Blaine says that is a very serious violation of confidentiality.
That's severely. Okay. And I want to point out, this has happened before. Locke, I've had to report someone before at CIBC.
What?
Because he asked me, because I was open. Okay. All I needed to do, I don't know if Dean's ever heard this story, but I was opening a business account and I had to go, it was in the middle of COVID. I had to go into the stupid branch. I had to go into the branch to sign it.
Why?
All this guy had to do was print it and me to sign it. That's all he needed to do. And he was asking me questions like, so do you, tell me like about your family, thinking like, oh, it has something to do with like the bank. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have a family. He's like, okay, Locke, this man I've never met before just needed to sign my business account. Asked me, do you want to have kids? Asks me if I want to have kids.
Right now?
Ask me if I want to have kids. Not like, oh, are you maybe thinking about dependents in the future and we could help you out with an account? No. He was asking me, do you have kids? Like, are you like, I had to report him to like the head of like CIBC because I was like, no, that is so wrong. I felt so anyway. I just want to point out.
I wonder how much that happens. I wonder how much it doesn't happen to guys. Like guys never get like phone calls from a girl at the bank who thought he was really hot and he's like, hey, you want to go out? Because girls are better than guys. Guys are fucking idiots. Guys just do dumb shit like that where it's like they see an opportunity, they fly through it like the fucking Millennium Falcon. The Empire Strikes Back, and it's like
there are some guys out there that just
don't care.
Do you think I could get a free discount if I report?
Well, here's the question I have
for
you. Yeah, here's the question I have for you. What would you do for free cell phone service if he? Because listen,
a lot of money.
If that guy called me and he's like, "I just want you to give me a hand job, I'll give you free cell phone service," I would say no, but I would think about it.
It would be a hard It would be
It
hard
would be
to say no.
difficult.
Idea,
Yeah,
Dean.
right,
If you, Dean, would you give him?
Dean has got soft
would
hands
you give him
too.
one? Would you give him one for cell phone service for me? What if he-
Probably. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, if I don't have to pay for it. Yeah, it was like hey,
Dean's
listen,
not a big
I
hiker.
would barter. I'd be like, okay, how much for a hand job? You'd like an iPhone 14. I'm like, two iPhone 14s?
What does a reach around get?
And do you have to finish, or
like-
can I leave halfway through? Do I have to be here for the whole thing?
I still do
Those are the
terrestrial
questions.
radio, so the fact that this conversation is happening is like unbelievable.
I'm
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me.
No, I know you're talking about you being a floozy. Okay, like that's,
I'm shocked at
For a
people's
cell phone.
abilities to.
Well, do
I
you
have
know
to
how
report it.
expensive? Do you know how expensive cell phone services in Canada? It's like the most expensive fucking bill everybody has in this country because
I have to
they're a
report
bunch
him,
of fucking
right?
crooks. Yeah, you have to report him to Bell. Absolutely. It's an invasion of confidentiality and privacy. He used your personal phone number, which he helped you get, to see if you wanted to go for a hike and maybe some smooching. That's what he did.
there's
Like,
no
wanna go-
smooching.
Did he
I
leave a
don't
smoochy
know.
emoji?
Do you leave?
I
a
don't know
smoochie
about
emoji?
this.
No.
This is really a tough one because
You know who's got some experience in this area?
Bring him in.
Our next guest.
He's been waiting here a
Entrepreneur.
while, right?
Yeah, he's too long.
Sorry.
Like 15, 20
Sorry.
minutes. Please welcome the owner of Nest Social, friend of mine, friend of yours, Mr. Sheep King JB, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Sheep King's back. Nice to see you.
I've been screaming at my computer because, Marianne, I've been in your situation as the manager of an employee that solicited a customer.
Some sex? Really?
Yeah,
Really?
It is an insane. Now, this is for a different company. This is for Big Red, not Big Blue. But it is
Roger.
an insane breach of policy. Like, it not only is it a PR nightmare that if one of their employees was caught taking customers' phone numbers and
I just said it out
soliciting-
loud. I just said it out loud on
Yeah.
this very public.
Well, I mean, don't worry about that. I don't think Bell's watching. Just a thought. But
Well, actually,
Mm.
some of them are.
everybody knows everybody, right? But we had a rep who took a phone number from somebody and then proceeded to send an inappropriate photo unsolicited to that customer.
What kind of
thinking
photo?
that
What kind of photo?
They
Dick.
wanted that, which they did not. That was a nice little visit from that customer to me,
Was it
explaining
a
the
cock shot?
situation.
Was it a wiener shot?
Yeah, full
Yeah.
on.
No one
Full on.
sends
So
balls, eh? It's
It
always the wiener.
happens more than you think, and every company, I can confidently say, has a process for this, and they know what to do. So, and
Does
also,
it
if you want your
involve
connection fee waived,
Marianne getting
call
a
and say
free
you did it online.
iPhone 14 Pro?
Yeah. Do you have to? Did you have to comp anybody a free phone for the
No, I
invasion
didn't
of
do
sexual
anything.
privacy?
I just had to confirm that the rep was taken care of, which we let him go ultimately for it. But
It
but if you
seems
want
like
your
the-
connection fee waived, just call and say you did the activation online and you got a connection fee, and you should have done that, and they'll waive it. They
No,
credit
it's,
those
I think
folks.
it's already waived. I can check my account. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure it's
Well, good.
waived
It is now.
before I
JB, should she report him?
Yes,
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
because
I even
they're-
feel bad reporting him because
No, so wireless employees now are regulated under the wireless code. So there is not only rules that they have to say where they give you clear instructions about what the plan is and the pricing and all that. There's also a code of conduct that they have to do. And in that code of conduct is they can't take customers' personal information for their own gain, whether that's like personal, like trying to ask you out on a date, or to sell to another business or something like that, because you're seeing confidential information, right? So you're protected by that. So if you get that license revoked, then you can't work in the industry.
that's a
right?
severe breach, right? Like
It
that's
is.
a
It's
severe
huge.
breach of trust. And
It's huge. It's absolutely. It's like
What's
one
that
of the things
mindset?
that the company I worked for. There's a couple list of things that if you did, you automatically lost your job, and that was one of the things. Right? Is that you do not.
What
take
were the
customer
other ones?
information.
What were the other ones? Masturbating
Uh,
at work.
Like
Yeah.
activating on
I've
fake
done that
identification,
a couple of times and just didn't
stuff
get
like
caught.
that. Like
Oh.
just blatant like identity theft, laundering, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
But like,
So you can jerk
so,
off.
so
at
it,
work?
yeah. So you can
Try.
masturbate at work. Is that?
try.
like
The-
to this point, JB, like the guy, did you hear the CIBC story?
Yes,
That
I
is,
did.
yeah. So to this point, I still have to sometimes go into that branch, and I actually get like, because
Yeah.
he like
Yeah.
I actually no, I haven't seen him there since, but like for a reason. But I actually get like
Remember what the
there's
church
this
used to
thing-
do?
there's this thing
Just
that
move
women
guys
get.
around.
We get scared, right? I actually have like I get stressed out when I go in there because I'm afraid I'm
Oh,
going to
come
see
on.
him.
You totally allowed to, Marianne. My God. Like it's awful. It's awful putting you, it's not right to put people in that situation. We had a guy at work that I worked with that every single frickin' time a new female employee started, we would literally start a stopwatch to see how long it would take him to make a comment on that individual's Facebook page. And we would literally watch it. And sometimes it would happen within minutes. And it's like I don't need to present a picture here but this guy is not an appealing individual at all, but was just the most aggressive. I don't even know what to call it. Person I've ever seen.
Well, the other part of this,
what are you doing? Like, I wanted.
Well, that's it.
There was one time they had to stop me because I literally started walking to the back, and they're like, "No, look, don't do it. Talk to somebody. This isn't your place." I was going to tell the guy, "You got to stop this because I'm embarrassed. Everyone's embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for you, and I want to punch your lights out because you're a creep." Yeah. And the thing is, some guys can do it. Like some guy, I don't understand. This guy.
Do you know what the thing that? Yeah, but
this
do you know what?
me.
It's amazing to me because we're kind of talking about the same thing. And JB, I really appreciate you kind of stepping in to talk about it too, because it's actually fucking wild that it is this prevalent. And I've known Marianne for just over a year now. And the fascinating thing is that this is like there are 2 or 3 stories like this that she has told me in the last year, where some fucking pervert is like, that woman's an item, right? Yeah. That I just sold an item to an item, and I want to see if I can have that item. Like, that's what I get out of this is like, there's zero respect for the human, because these guys wouldn't do it to men. They wouldn't say, "Hey man, I like your coat. I just wondering where you got it." Like, fucker. Or, "Hey dude, I noticed you're wearing bike shorts when you came in here to get your new phone. I'd love to go biking with you sometime." They don't do it to guys, right? The whole express purpose is like these guys are treating women like items when they do that. Men treat women like things, and this isn't like this is a massive invasion of privacy for anybody to get your phone number, access to your bank account, and that's what both of these guys came from. One guy came from Bell Mobile, and the other guy came from a fucking nationally recognized bank. Where he's like, "Hey, I got your phone number from our private information vault here that you've entrusted us with, and I'm seeing if you want to maybe hook up sometime." Like, holy fuck.
Like, both of these guys have like they have, and I was afraid. I had to like confirm with a manager at CIBC. I said to him, I'm like, I am afraid to report this guy because he can access my information. He has my home address. He has all these things. I didn't realize how worked up I would get in this, but the fact that I was afraid to report him because he has so much information about me. I remember him even being like, "Oh, you're on Bolton Street," looking like it was messed up. It was like weird. So anyway, so I never had to deal with it again, thank God. But total anyway, so 2 stories in the last year, let alone any woman's life that experiences this.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
it's unfortunate. There's many dudes out there that just haven't got us of
reading the room and not doing shit like that. Like, it's just it's pretty obvious, right?
There's a lot of guys that can't read a room. That's a great way of putting it, JB.
Well, that's what I said to the guy when we had to let him go. It's like, what made you think this was a good idea? And he was like, "Well, I thought she liked me." I'm like, "Dude, read the room. She talked to you about a cell phone, and you took her number from your the contract and texted her unsolicitedly a picture. Like, what room would that be acceptable in, even if she did want it?"
I thought she liked me. That's the same guy that goes to a strip joint and leaves after some girl takes like $500 of his dollars and goes, "What? Like you just wanted my money?" Is that like, it's the same guy. It's the same idiot. It's the same guy that treats women like fucking items. I it's funny because when you said you wanted to talk about this today, Marianne, I didn't think it would be this interesting of subject, but I fucking it's wild.
I didn't mean for it to get so serious. First of all, like I didn't realize
stressed out. Like
Lachlan fucking makes everything too serious. He always does. It's his
but
big,
like,
that's his fatal flaw. Yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah, it makes like I know you guys see it from a different perspective, but like it makes me stressed out at how creepy this is. Like now that you've brought it to light, because it's the first time because it happened like seconds before we came on the air. So the fact that I'm talking about this now and you guys are like, yeah, this is a problem. You should report him. Like makes me feel like JB. It just makes me feel makes me feel
Can
sick.
you give
We
me his
talk about
number
this.
and I'll talk to him?
Yeah, do it. Do it.
I'll
Pretend
get
you're
that
from Bell.
connection fee waived, and he'll never talk to you.
Yeah,
again.
can you make sure my connection fee is waived first?
I got connections at Bell. I'll get your connection fee waived, and I won't ask you to go on a hike either. So it's a win-win.
That's nice of you, because we know you're not really asking to go on a hike. That's the other thing. He doesn't want to go on a hike with you, Marianne.
JB, I'm
He's
so
too
sorry we
busy
made this about me.
to make plans.
You're
That's
here
fine.
for different reasons. So
Yeah, he's
I'm
got his
just
own
kidding.
social media. He's got listen. This is one that I love about people like JB, right? I love everybody on this panel for different reasons. Locke because he's Locke. Marianne because she's Marianne and she's an entrepreneur and she's indomitable. And everybody here shares that similar kind of capability. Everybody here that we work with is like, hey, that didn't work. I'm going to try this again. Or hey, I want to do this. I'm going to go try that. So we've all watched Twitter go into the toilet, and then you watched everybody kind of, oh, maybe it's tribal, or maybe I go to Mastodon. By the way, Mastodon's hilarious. But anyway, JB, you're doing something pretty incredible. And when you started doing this, I was like, yeah, that won't work. And then we talked about it, and I'm like, this actually might work. Why don't you tell us about Nest Social? I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of come from the same background where we've worked in terrestrial radio. I'm no longer in it, but I've done it. And
I
when
didn't
we
know
all
you did
started,
radio.
yeah, I did.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, when I did radio, I was a part of the promotions department, and we had control over the Twitter at the time when Twitter was this new thing, and it was easy. You posted something, and your engagement was with the people that follow you, and you tried to get people to follow your Twitter or your different socials. And now social media has changed from this feed-based system to this algorithm-based system. If you look at stuff like TikTok, and now Twitter's doing it, Instagram's doing it, where you'll follow an account and you'll never see that account again on your feed, despite you following them. YouTube is a good example of that. I've subscribed to so many YouTube channels, and I don't get notified when half of the channels post a video when I want to see that video, because the algorithm has determined, yeah, you don't want to see this right now. So my thought process is while there's a lot of good things about Twitter, there's also a lot of bad things. So let's shave the bad things off and rebuild this sort of concept from scratch to be what it used to be, but with the modern day improvements of technology, right? So my thought is like no ads, no algorithm based feeds. If creators can get support in the sense that if they want to monetize their feed with private feeds or private videos, they can do that as well and actually make some money. And then premium features at a cost if you want it. And that's pretty much it. It's the simple kind of concept, going back to sort of the basics, but taking the modern day approaches of support and crowdfunding and this and that, and to make a new network itself. So,
yeah, it's called Nest Socials. You can follow them on Twitter at Nest Social. Nests, when something fails, you must rebuild. Coming soon. Contact at hello@nest.social. If you want press, you go to press@nests.social. This is kind of interesting because I laughed at some of the things that you put on. He was like, hey, everybody, anti-vax posts will not be allowed on Nest Social. This will be our community guidelines. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like right after Twitter is like, we're not going to moderate that stuff anymore. It's too much of a pain in the ass and it costs too much money. So the fact you're not allowing anti-vaxxers on this platform makes me laugh. I thought that was really funny. But you and I had a conversation about this the other day because you're into OnlyFans. You're, you've got a couple of side hustles. And I'm like, what about porn? Are you going to monetize porn? So my understanding from our conversation was like, you're like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Porn's going to be all over the place. Porn's going to be a big part of what we do. Is that correct?
Well, we are going to create a platform that is safe for people to use, in the sense that if they do not want to see adult content, they don't have to, right? Yep. There is going to be a barrier between that, but we are going to allow NSFW content with a barrier in place that and we're not going to suppress sex workers' accounts like an algorithm wants to do. So if you are a sex worker now and you go to post on Twitter, your tweets don't appear on algorithms because they assume that you are posting pornography. Where if it's on a follower-based feed, if somebody follows you, they want to see that, right? So it's okay to be on their feet in that case, in our opinion. But
every
there's
once in
gonna
a
be-
while in the morning, I'll because I'm on TweetDeck, I'll check to see how the traffic situation is. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but there's a couple of porn sites that use traffic hashtags. So you'll see YEG traffic, and you'll just see something wildly graphic.
Yeah, yeah.
wildly graphics.
Yes.
But that's what happens on Twitter too. Like when you were
I
talking
don't
about
have
how
porn on my Twitter.
are you
Like,
serious? You haven't been
yeah.
bombed by like you haven't searched something like soup can, or you
There's
haven't
porn on there.
you haven't searched something
No,
at,
I've
like
used a
someone's
private. I
name.
use a different.
Yeah, because what they do is this is how they get sneaky with porn on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, JB.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
all
don't need to be
hashtags.
sneaky if you're like, hey, this is a not safe for work capable thing. We're going to put barriers up. You don't need to be sneaky. You got to be sneaky with porn on Twitter. So it's like they hashtag things like MAGA, Donald Trump, like the order of the day. It's the hashtagging. And it's amazing because like you'll hear like when Donald Trump got charged and was found guilty with 17 major tax fraud violations yesterday, which made me laugh. I was like, of course it did. I'm flipping through it and I just see two guys going at it. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's like, well, that's and then you flip through and you're looking for more stuff because you're going to write something on it, and you see a bunch of women going at it in some kind of crazy weird caramel orgy where you're like, what are they doing? This is what, and I'm like, and it's just
stick
it's
around.
all yeah. So I watched it for 3-4 hours just for researching, but you know what I mean? Like that's how Twitter works, if I'm not mistaken, JB.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell a quick story, JB, just before we get to you? So my show name is The Locker Room. And when I got on Twitter, I thought, well, I'm going to use these hashtags. These are cool. Like I'm going to be one of the kids, right? So I hashtag The Locker Room. Well, that might have been a mistake because if you go look at that hashtag,
all kinds of porn.
There is just a tremendous amount of male on male porn. For whatever reason, they use The Locker Room.
Is locker spelled with a CH or CK?
Marianne's got her brand new iPhone up there, just trying.
She's trying to surf for as much pornography as she can. What was those hashtags again? Hashtag locker room.
You spell it for me, please. Sorry,
JB. That to that point. The porn that people get on Twitter, is that how that works? Just all hashtagging, right?
Yeah. Well, it's also a lot of bot accounts, right? Which it's not an actual human behind a lot of these accounts, especially the ones that when there's a trending hashtag and they flood it with either porn or with shitty things. It's usually a bot that's doing that or a troll farm or something like that. And one of our approaches that we're going to do with this app is that, we are going to do an authentication process when you sign up where we know it's a human behind the account because you have to have a verified SMS number, similar to a lot of what dating sites are doing now, where you have to put in your phone number, it texts you a code when you log in, you're into the account. So while that's still prone to abuse in some capabilities, it drastically reduces the amount of bot accounts that can be created because you need a phone number in order to create the account, right? So sure, there's going to be people that abuse it. That's a part that's going to be more a part of our community guidelines to help step in and make that not a thing. But overall, we're going to try to reduce the total number of bot accounts and make it so it's a human actually doing it.
So are you going to, where are you at now with the build? Like, where are you at now with actually building it out? Because a lot of things people don't realize about GB, other than as well as being a content provider, other than being an adult star, he's also a coder. Like you're doing a lot of this yourself, correct?
Yeah, I mean the app's up. Like I have it up on my account on my phone here. I have a feed. I fixed the feed today. We had a major bug where the feed, like the post that was loading, wasn't working. Anytime I would post something, it just wouldn't appear. So that got fixed this morning, and I'm in the bug testing phase of that. But now that that's fixed, we just have to get notifications done and direct messaging and a couple little polish here and there, and we are pretty close to getting a beta out at that time. So
Android or Apple?
It's going to be Apple to start because I only know how to code in Apple. So if anybody's watching that knows how to code in Android, please email me. I would like to talk to you because it's like,
I can help you out with that.
yeah, Lockie, you're big, Kotlin and C# and all that stuff. No, I'm kidding.
Sure.
Um,
Whatever.
the challenge is getting it out to a massive level, and we're going to launch it to Apple because Apple has a really good beta testing software called TestFlight, where users can log into TestFlight, they can sign up for the beta, and it'll download to their phone. And then if
So this isn't a joke.
No,
this isn't
it's
like
real.
that book you wrote.
That was a joke. But
I thought this was a joke. This is serious.
He's
When
fucking
Dean was
doing this
telling me
for
about this,
real.
he's
Like,
like,
he's
"This
literally
is
trying to
JB
fucking
that-
build social media platform
Hey.
for normal people
Good for
who don't
you,
feel like
JB.
putting up with all the bullshit. And I fucking think it's great. I love it. I think it's a smart idea.
yeah, I think it's time. I think with the Twitter acquisition, I've had this idea for a little bit now, just kind of pondering in my brain. But with the Twitter acquisition that we've seen, I think it's time. I think there's a want. I think people want something a little different. Not that Twitter's going away, and we're not trying to fully replace Twitter. We understand that Twitter is going to be still a reality because they have 284 million active users. But if we can give people an alternative to go to when maybe Twitter pisses them off, or maybe they want something a little bit more quiet, I guess you could say, we want to give people that option. And it's just a matter of giving people the ability to have something different, because I don't think there is something different right now.
Yeah,
But,
what is everybody using? Like, we're all still on Twitter, right? Like, I never use Facebook. We have Facebook as a company. I never use
I'm on
Instagram. We
Slapflick.
have it as a company.
I
No,
love
you're
it.
not. No, you're not.
You're on
It's not
what?
even the name of. No, he's being funny. Don't even
What'd you
worry
say?
about Slapdick. Don't worry about it. He's talking about
Slapflick.
Snapchat. No, you're wrong. But like,
It's great.
outside of the
It's all videos.
No, it's not. Outside of all the ones that we're using now, like, has anybody, because Mastodon sucks. Has anybody tried Mastodon? It's one of
I
the
tried
dumbest
it.
things I've
Sounds
ever fucking seen in my
racist.
life. I got kicked I got kicked off of Mastodon.
It
And
sounds
I
like a
didn't even post
dinosaur.
once. I'm like, oh fuck, someone kicked me off already. No idea. Try it.
Mastodon, the problem with Mastodon is it's decentralized, right? Which is this new approach to the internet where it doesn't actually have a central server, I guess you could say. It's all
Seems
over
to
the
be working
blockchain.
for crypto.
It worked well. How well is crypto going? Right? So that going great. Put all your money in Bitcoin. You'll save yourself from inflation. Anyways, the decentralized networks are one thing, but the problem with decentralized is there's no ability to sort of moderate the network, right? So if there is something so egregious that's going on, like some terrible, terrible things that can happen, it's all self-moderated. So if the community that's subscribed to it doesn't think it's wrong, it can sit there and breed and build. And the 4chans of the world are a good example of a decentralized moderation where it can just breed hate, right? And it can breed some terrible things, the things that we want from social media. And if you want that decentralized approach, there's avenues for you to go to. But I think the everyday user wants something where they can go on. It's safe, that they don't see some shitty things that they don't want to see. And if there's something so egregious, like God forbid, something with a child or hate crimes or something like that, it's moderated, it's removed, and it's taken care of. I think that's what people want.
Are you gonna pull an Elon when it gets big? You're gonna pull an Elon and like, I make the rules around here now.
Or did you mean have 8 children with 8 different women? Which one did you mean?
That too. He's got 13 kids with 5 different women.
I don't think that's going to be the case for me, to be honest.
No.
We're going to take a different approach to.
Are you going to sell people's information? I would do that.
Absolutely not. We're not going to sell any accounts. We take very, very little demographic information. The other thing since we're not running
put Coughlin Crotch back up?
Yeah. Can he have that handle?
Yeah, Lachlan Crotch, and I'll even verify you.
Coughlin.
You have verification? Can I have an account too?
Yeah,
you got to verify me right off the hop. I want to get on this right now.
Don't let either of them on there.
Do what we want.
No.
Get out of here.
No, it's look, the idea is here. I think there's a lot of buzz about it, and there's a lot of people wanting something. And if it flops, it flops. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's kind of the approach we're taking on this, right? Is I just want to give people a platform, and if they use it, they use it. So
smart. If you go to Nest, what's the name of the website where people can actually log in, have a look? I know you're beta testing, and how can people get involved? Because I think you're in the Indiegogo portion of this now, are you not?
So I'll start by saying the project's going to launch either way, right?
Yeah.
Regardless if we raise $1 or thousands of dollars, it's going to launch either way. The Indiegogo campaign that we're doing is to build a base capital because servers are expensive. I was talking to you privately about this, Dean, but there's a number of free users you get with most databases. But once you surpass that, for every 10,000 users we add to the network, it costs us $1,000. So do some math on that, right? The more you add, the more it costs. So the Indiegogo is to help us get a runway basically set up so that we can keep it going for an extended period of time. And then until we start generating our revenue, which is from our revenue generation plan. So that's coming at a later time.
What's the revenue generation plan?
So the two things we're going to do is one is creators are going to have the ability to monetize their feeds. So if you want to do a newsletter, if you want to have a private feed, if you want to have additional badges, emojis, whatever, that's going to be an additional premium that creators can set. We will take a small 25% cut and the creator keeps the 75%. So it gives creators an opportunity to make some money. The second thing we're going to do is offer some premium features, which I'm still trying to figure out what exactly those will be. But for the power user to be able to have a monthly fee to be able to.
Do you think this is going to turn into another porn site? Because OnlyFans desperately wants everybody to think that, yeah, you know what? Listen, we got cooking classes and you can learn to knit, but it's all just cock and balls.
So in order to be on the respected app stores, both Android and Apple, you cannot be exclusively a pornography site. So that's not the goal. Obviously, we're going to be sex worker friendly and we're going to allow the platform to exist with that. But it's not going to be the main content of the
Are you ready for all the evangelical wieners to call this a grooming app? You ready for that?
I've already gotten it. It's like just a liberal echo chamber. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's what you want to call it.
Hold on, I'm interested in the porn thing again. So if you're just doing like a finger blasting site, you have to also do something else, like
hashtag.
Well, again, we're going to have the barrier for NSFW content. So if you don't want to see that, it's not going to.
Okay. But you were saying you can't just be that. You're trying to get them to expand their horizons.
Yeah, but I think what he's trying to say is he's trying to hashtag Cleveland Steamer. No, what I think he's saying is he wants to be friendly to sex workers. Like he wants to be friendly to that content and the people that, because there's nothing wrong with that content, right? It's you've got, again, it's the same people. Like it's the same reason why people tell like the prayers in school. It's like, fuck, let's move on. Which is what you're saying, right? It's like, hey, listen, we want to be friendly to everybody unless you're a total asshole, right? Or an anti-vaxxer. Then you're not allowed to be on the.
Yeah,
we'll get you kicked off.
Just spreading hate or just
hatred,
being a downright terrible person.
I love it, JB.
We're going to use AI to our advantage about having to detect this kind of stuff, right? So while we're not using AI to build the feeds, we're going to use AI to detect what posts are really egregious, right? And with our moderation, while the AI is going to help us determine what's more like worse than other things, it's still going to be a human at the other end that makes the ultimate decision to remove a post, to remove an account, to do something like that, because we feel like AI is dumb with that kind of stuff. Like this Nest Social account got suspended yesterday on Twitter, which I find kind of interesting.
What do you mean? This one, the one that we put up? It
was suspended yesterday. I got it back late last night.
Why did they suspend you? What'd you do?
They didn't tell me. They just said it was suspended. And I appealed and I got my account back. So
they don't want the competition. That's the thing.
Put the tinfoil hats on if you may, but I think
who are you following on Twitter?
Myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just you.
No, but I did
it's a power move.
I did respond to Stephen King asking if there was a Twitter alternative coming out. I'm like, hey, we're making one, and Stephen King liked it. So I think that maybe got the attention of certain groups of people, and because that's a big account, that's a big name, and so
cool.
Put the tinfoil hats on, but maybe Elon didn't like. the competition.
Awesome.
But
It's awesome, dude. It's awesome. Like Twitter's a ghost town. Like I was showing Marianne and I before we got on the show today. We were looking at pictures of Twitter before and after Elon Musk's. Yeah, dude. There's no one there. There's like 1,700 people there. They started with 8,700 employees.
I
2 months
thought you
ago.
meant not on the platform,
the app.
but at the guys working there.
No, like people are fleeing the app too. I mean, it's just an anti-Semitic wasteland group of fucking incels that are running the thing. So like a bunch of our content got shadow banned. Like a bunch of it. If you put out anything that's negative about Elon, there's got to be keywords and algorithms. You would know how this works. But like, I would normally put out a story about Elon Musk that would get, I don't know, 500 likes, maybe 100 retweets. It would get, I don't know, 10, 15,000 page views. In the last 2 weeks, and I've had conversations with other people that are on Twitter too, the shadow banning's been absolutely fucking unbelievable. Like, and I'm not the only person,
Really?
and we're not complaining about it because you can't do anything about it. But if you put up anything negative about Elon, it sees as little traction as humanly possible. And there's got to be a reason for it. Like, you're sitting there coding this stuff. You can put some kind of
it's a line of code,
keyword lineup. Like, how does that work? How does a shadow banning work in that world?
What probably, again, I haven't seen the source code of this, so I don't know how Twitter's doing this, and they obviously are using pretty advanced AI that I probably don't have enough skill set to read, but from a basic high-level concept perspective, what it probably is there's a master dictionary that exists of all the words and phrases and terms that they don't want to be pushed out, and every time you post something, the tweet before it hits the feed, it looks at the dictionary and says, does this post contain anything in this dictionary? And if it's a yes, you get suppressed.
Yeah,
it's very easy to do. I could code it in a minute.
And Elon's tweets, like I saw a Twitter thing, Elon's tweets, like access and engagement to his tweets has gone up like 1,000% over the past. Like he's gained like 75 million followers in the last like couple of years, and the majority of his followers and the people that have jumped in have been after the purchase, right? And to the point, again, this is Twitter this is Twitter after the purchase. Look at all these virgins. This is fucking
so many unhappy, scared faces there. Honestly,
those are the coders. I love the guy right next to him with the thumbs up. Maybe a shirt that fits, bud. Try that one.
Orgy ever.
Worst orgy ever. And this is Twitter prior to that. This is a get together of the same group of people prior. Look at all the females. Look, a very diverse.
Oh, they're
group
all
of people.
gone, eh?
Oh, yeah, they're all fired. Yeah, the Elon went in there and he's like, okay, I only want male virgins who are angry at the world to code. And these guys all put their thumbs up and like, that's me, fella. And it's a joke. Like Twitter today is more of a. He's like 52. He's the same age as you, and it's hard to navigate. Like, you can game the system a little bit where you're like, okay, don't put Elon's name in this post about Elon. Don't say this, but everybody can clearly tell what's up. I mean, I can. You know the guts from the inside about building these things, JB. There's only one explanation for the incredible rise in popularity and the relationship curation that this guy goes to. It's all a fucking operation, right? Like Ian Miles Chong, this fucking piece of shit, who, by the way, hate tweeted me the other day, and I can't stand the guy.
I've never seen this guy until now.
Oh, dude, Elon Musk and him, like, he's got proxies. I wrote a story about it today. Elon Musk uses guys that have 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 followers as proxies to support the perception that he's trying to give people about him and his business. And this guy goes all day long. You can set your clock to the ball washing this guy gives Elon Musk on a daily basis. And not just him. Viva Frey, same thing. Viva Frey has now moved to Florida. And this is a Canadian YouTuber. He's a Canadian YouTuber who is like, the convoy's the best. Vaccines don't work. I want everybody to die. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. This guy gets a ton of money from dark groups in the United States, just moved to Florida, and he's another one of his proxies as well. Like, it not only does Elon Musk has he gamed the algorithm for himself and against other people, but he's actually bringing an army of incels with him that help him keep up appearances, help him push this shit out on like an hourly basis. Him, Matt Taibbi. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Twitter Files thing where he was like, here's what Twitter did last year. It was such a flop. They actually fired their general counsel and said he was working with the FBI, which is a total lie. I mean, It is as egregiously collusive at Twitter as it has ever been. And you can see
And
it.
it was,
we can see it.
There
in our
was
analytics.
issues in that same regard before, right?
Yeah. Look, Twitter has
was.
never made money, right? Twitter has been red since its iteration. They never had a revenue plan. They never had an idea or a plan in place for when it reached this level of users, right? But at the time, Twitter was created and filled a void that Facebook didn't have, and Instagram wasn't even a thing yet at that time, right? And when they realized, hey, this is getting expensive, they tried to create a revenue plan with, the monthlies, Twitter Blue, and then obviously running ads. That never worked. They never made money because their overhead was way too high, right? And that's their downfall, right? They overhired, they had their cost way too high, and they never found a way to generate revenue. So,
And then they fired everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's going to drive everybody crazy, because as much as you want to hate Elon Musk, he's probably going to make this a successful business. Now, in the meantime, he might destroy what it used to be, and it might not have the same sort of significance culturally because he's letting his ego run it as well. But
yeah,
the guy he's found ways to make money, and that I'm not supporting him. I'm just saying, I always find it shocking when people are like, he's an idiot. I'm like, the guy's the richest man in the world. He has had like a run at whether or not he did it one way or another, or how he did it, or what his motives were. He has managed to stay relevant and successful. And I don't know. People want to believe things. It's like, I've said this to a couple of my friends that are like huge Trumpers. And I literally got on the phone with one of them and I said, dude, you need to listen to me, hear me. Trump is never going to jail. And I think it's for your own mental health that you come to that conclusion. The world is not fair, and he's a criminal, and he should be in jail. But if you keep posting about how he's going to jail every day, you're just going to drive yourself fucking crazy. Same thing with Elon Musk. He's got that same sort of energy now from the people that can't stand him.
Yes, you want him to fail, right?
Yeah, you desperately need him to fail. And every day you get up to check to see, oh my God, Twitter's going to be down. Oh fuck, it's still working. God,
I had this weird feeling that when everyone's like, Twitter's going down, it's going down. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not going to go down.
It's not.
Yeah. And I'm like, no chance. It's going
this
down.
dick will find a way to keep it going.
Yeah, I even think that, and I'm trying to develop a Twitter alternative for people, right? Like, I know Twitter's not going away. It's too big to fail, right? It's just,
yeah, it is. That's a good way of putting it. I mean, it is. Will he fuck it up?
Sure.
He's already fucked it up.
It's the whole shiny ball syndrome or like rubbernecking at an accident on the side of the highway, right? When something is crashing and burning, your user base or your followers or whatever will increase because they want to see it go down. But over time, that number is going to eventually plateau and then plummet down. So yes, while he's bragging about 285 million active users a day or whatever the hell it is, that's going to go down next month, and it's going to go down the month after that, after the policies that they make Twitter, the modern Twitter, to be are going to piss people off, and they're going to try to find something else. Whether they migrate to Facebook or to an alternative is the big question, right? So it's all shiny ball right now.
Good
Twitter's
timing
exciting
for you with respect to what you're trying to accomplish, JB.
What's that? Sorry?
The Nest Social. It's
a good time to be you.
Oh, yes. Well, and that was kind of my thought about making this, because this has been an idea I've had long before Elon Twitter, right? That, I'm tired of opening up insert social media app and I see maybe one of the 200 accounts that I follow. Like, if I follow an account, I want to see that account when they post.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I follow something for. I don't want to follow it just to give them the clout and then never see their post or interact with them again. Right.
You know what I'm frustrated with, and I don't know if this will have any bearing on the decisions that you make moving forward, but it drives me absolutely mental that you can't reach people. Like you just can't reach people anymore. People never see our shit. Like because they've already flagged me as a radio station, and so because they want money for it.
Mhm.
So we're just hammered, and it's probably the worst on Facebook. Like you just
any of you,
do
yeah, any of
not
your own
see
video, any
our
of your own
stuff.
content, absolutely not. Or on your own website, no chance.
Boom.
It's
It
getting
gets
out.
hammered.
Yeah.
Just gets crushed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, that's because they want to run ads, right? They want to try to, even on the Nest Social Twitter that I made, I already get notifications like, "Hey, you want to promote this tweet for $13?" I'm like, "No, fuck off!" Like
You're asking yourself for money and you're telling yourself to fuck off. That's awesome.
Yeah, but
sounds like it's working.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like since we're not going to be running ads, we're not going to be really needing to suppress accounts to try to generate revenue, right? That's not going to be in our plan. It's just not.
But that's every social media platform.
Yeah, because it's algorithmic, right?
Yep.
They want you to pay to play, and they know that 101 whatever will pay to play. They know that these business accounts that register as a business account will pay to play. Mommy 69 is not going to pay to play, right? They're going to just surf, right? Well, maybe.
Where'd you get
I'm
that
Mommy
number from, fella?
I'm Mommy 69. Weird. How'd you find my
Yeah, that's
know?
the locked Twitter that you're speaking on.
Maybe that's why guys from the bank and the phone company keep texting you, is because they see your email address. It's like, I'm Mama 69. And they're like, "Ooh, she's a good
I don't
one."
know why I can't just get a phone.
Yeah. No, but it's the.
We shouldn't be joking about that. You need to report that guy.
Yeah, still report it. Yeah, you got to report him, even though it's still funny.
You got to report this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. He's got your home address. Listen, dude, I can't thank you enough for even just coming on to chat about this. And if you want to get involved, go to Nest Social, right? Nest Social. Tell us again, browser, where can people find you? How can they donate? How can they help you get this thing off the ground with your Indiegogo campaign, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
And how can I get verified? That's all I care about. How can I get verified? Before Lachlan.
All three of you can be verified. It's fine.
You're such a dick.
Mommy 69.
So the Nest.social will bring you to the Indiegogo campaign. Again, contribute if you want. You don't have to. The project's going to launch regardless. You can find us on Twitter, ironically, at Nest Social for now. And
I've already followed your account, JB.
Yeah,
I don't know if that does anything for you, but there you go. And I'm going to wait till you stop messing around when it's for real. That's because I can't handle the beta testing. I'm not smart enough or patient enough. So send me a note when it's ready.
Close. We're getting close. I got the one critical bug that would have killed the app fixed. So that's good. That's a step in the right direction. Now it's just a couple more features and polish, and we can start to push it out.
Plus, I also have this nasty habit of getting involved in things technically and destroying them.
Yeah, keep them away from all the things you're doing. Don't let them touch any of it. Okay.
Well,
don't ask them for advice. Don't bring them in as a beta test.
I will just suspend the account and say it's not ready yet. Lock on your screen.
All right, thank you, brother.
Oh, he's the guy that waits on hold for like 6 hours just to yell at someone in customer service. Just so you know.
That is me.
Callback?
That is me. Yeah. I send the family out.
Yeah.
I send them out shopping, and I go, come back in about 4 hours.
Dude, I was on the phone with my partner yesterday, and he's in a meeting, and I hear music in the background. What's that music? And he's like, I'm on the phone with Rackspace. And I go, why? He goes, email's been down for a week. I go, really? Like worldwide, globally? He's like, yeah. I said, how long you been on hold? He goes, 4 hours and 20 minutes. 4 hours and 20 minutes. And my partner's great. His name's George. Envision.co. If you're looking for a great website built, need some analytics, leverage, coverage, whatever the deal is. So anyway, as we're on the phone doing this meeting, in the middle of it, this voice comes on. It's like, you are being disconnected. And I'm like, oh my God, that was like 4.5 hours. And finally you got disconnected. He goes, I was only staying every hour that went by. I was more committed to staying on fucking hold for 8 hours just so I could tell him I was on the phone for 8 fucking hours and yell at a guy. So are you going to have customer service? There's the question. Are you customer service? Is that who you are? Are you going to be one of those guys, or do you want Lachlan and I to handle customer service? Because we can do that.
I haven't even got to the point where I want anybody else on the team yet. So when that comes, we will address our moderation team very seriously.
Yeah, actually, I can be part of the
Don't put any of these
the
fools on there.
testing phase of customer service, because
Yeah.
I am pretty sure there is the numerous phone calls of me with customer service for a variety of companies where they play that in classrooms, teaching people how to handle bad customers.
Yeah, you know when they say this call may be moderated for training and
You're the
purposes, you're the
reason.
training purposes.
You're the reason.
I would bet my life on it.
Locke, I need you.
Shaw.
Locke, I'm gonna bring you in on a three-way conversation with Val when I make the report. If that's
Oh my God.
I love it. I love it. I came home one day and my daughter was like, "Oh my God, Dad, I did something. I don't know. I got talked into something." I'm like, "What did you do?" She was getting a credit card and they talked her into insurance. And I'm like, "You don't need insurance for a fucking credit card. You need a credit card so you can start building credit. You don't need to be paying $25 a month to insure something you're never a $500 credit limit on it." This is since she's like 18, 19 years old. She needed a credit card. And so I said, "Get him on the line." She's like, "Dad." I'm like, "Get him on the line." And this woman comes on and she, "Hello, may I help you?" And I just start yelling at her. "My daughter just signed up for this credit card and you talked her into insurance she doesn't need. Take it off." "I'm sorry, sir. I can't take it off. It's not possible." I'm like, "Yes, it is, because you just put it on. I'm going to have to put you on somebody that can do this." And then we're on hold. And then the woman calls, another woman comes on. "Hello, may I help you?" I'm like, "Get this insurance off my daughter's car." "I can't do that." And I'm like, "I'm telling you what, I'm going to be here all day until you guys find someone that can remove this now."
Mark.
And you know
You're
what?
a Mark.
And I'm telling you right now, I swear they have that phone call, my phone call at that company for customer service.
Severe
purposes.
escalation purposes.
Guess what happened?
Yeah.
Guess what happened? They removed the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 people told me they couldn't do it, it was physically impossible, and that we had to go through all these steps to have it removed. I'm like, "Yeah, we're doing that right now. You're removing it. These are the steps."
Yeah.
You just have to be forceful, people.
I
I
I'm-
get the same things done being nice, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm in the
fuck,
process
nice.
of moving, and I had to call Bell to move my internet. And the city I'm moving to is still in Ontario, and the person didn't know how to spell Ontario, and that was concerning to me. I said the city.
Let
I'm
me
moving
guess.
to-
Let me guess. They weren't in Ontario where they
No,
were taking the
they
call.
said they were in Toronto.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And they were like, "What province is that in?" I'm like, "Ontario." "How do you spell that?"
Really?
If I have to spell Ontario for you, this isn't going to go well. It took 3.5 hours to do a move.
Yeah.
Just a simple move request saying
It's fucking,
this-
dude. I'm
would've got that
convinced,
done
like
in
you
15
worked
minutes.
you worked for one of those companies. I'm convinced that causing chaos in a customer's head is a
Yes.
strategy for them. I'm convinced.
Yes.
You know how many times I've given my information to someone's like, name, information, account number, and like give them it all. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I can't help you with that. I'm going to pass you through to someone else. And then they pass you through to someone else, and you go through the same song and dance. You're like, dude, I just gave it to the last person. Then they go, yeah, I can't help you. I'm going to pass you through. So 3 or 4 people, by the time you actually get to the person and there's like, can I have your name and information? I'm like, well, why don't you just fucking get it from one of the first 3 guys I talked to that couldn't help me? How about that one?
So,
Is that a strategy? Yeah.
Pro tip. Here's a pro
Yes.
tip. I'm going to teach you 2 pro tips.
Okay.
One, there's 2 types of transfers. There's cold transfers and warm transfers. When they cold transfer you, they just dump you into the queue in the other department. And that person that takes your call has no idea where you came from. They have no idea who you were just talking to. You are a fresh call to them. Then there's what's called a warm transfer, where they wait on hold for you and talk to the rep that you end up speaking to and can explain, pass the customer information over, this, that, and the other. They don't like to do warm transfers because it increases their average handle time, which that's their performance metric, right? The lower the call time, the better job they're doing. So you can always ask for a warm transfer. And if you say warm transfer, they're going to know, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. And they'll actually warm transfer you. The second thing you should do, if you're calling Big Red, say, hi, I was just speaking to the Rogers Management Office, or RMO, and they told me to speak to you, and then ask your request. RMO is like the overseeing department for all call centers in Rogers. And if you're talking to them,
Write this down.
something happened.
Yeah,
So, and
RMO.
they don't know that you can come from RMO. So when you say, hey, I was speaking to the RMO department and they told me to talk to you about lowering my bill, they'll go, oh.
I have some advice too
JB
on how to get
Warm
buy
transfer.
one of those.
No, you got to let Marianne go first. Let Marianne go first. She's female.
JB, is there any
Sure.
tips on people not stealing my information to hit on me? Is there any-
Look uglier.
That I can't help you with.
Wear a moo.
Yeah, no, that's just something that happens, and I
Yeah.
hate to say that, but it is.
Jesus.
I've seen it when I went to
That's
head
crazy.
office for Big Red. It was something that was regularly dealt with across the country.
What? You've
Yeah.
got to be kidding me. That is hilarious.
There's a policy.
So if
there's
they're
a
not hanging
procedure
up
for it.
on you, if they're not hanging up on you, or asking you
HR
for your information 48 times, they're trying to hit on you. It's quite the
HR
scam.
has that policy in place.
I've been playing my anxiety scrunchie this whole time because it makes me anxious.
I-
What were you
I
saying?
feel your pain. Good luck with it. You got to keep us posted on how it goes. I have advice for people on the automated services.
Yes.
Like when you type in
Yeah.
and you don't want to go through all of the
Hit
the
zero.
different 15 different layers to get to
Zero
talk
doesn't
to
work all the
human.
time. I do it all the time.
No, it doesn't
work
work.
all the time.
But I'll tell you what works. Fuck you.
Doesn't work. Also doesn't work.
That does that work. That works.
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
No, it
Also-
doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
You get somebody
JB.
almost right
With
away.
every company that you call. Now, Rogers is smart now because they tell you this now when you call them. But every company you call, when you're on hold, even for that 3 hours,
They're
or 4
mocking you.
hours,
They're mocking
they
you.
can hear you.
They can hear
You're
what you're
recording.
saying? Really?
Oh, that's
I love
awesome.
it.
Thank
I
you
love
for
it.
So wait,
telling me that.
they put you on hold? They put you on hold and then they sit and wait for you to fucking have a freak out and they listen to
No,
it?
I'm
so
obsessed with this. I
if
love
it's a
this so
silent
much.
hold where there's no music, all
Yeah.
that rep did was hit the mute button. So you're still in their ear.
But if there's music, they can't hear you.
The IVR is still recording your call,
Yeah.
so they can hear what you're saying. Now, Rogers
So-
tells you
so
That
this
last
now.
brings me
week-
so much joy, JB, because I thought I was just doing it for myself.
No, they can hear you. They can hear you. And Rogers tells you this now
Here.
because they got super sued by that because they used one of those recordings against a customer. The customer's like, "You didn't tell me I was being recorded when I was on hold," and they lost the lawsuit, and that turned into them.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a thing.
That's
There's-
fucking.
There's a case
Okay.
law on that.
Okay, last question I have for you because you understand.
Put
it from the inside.
hold on. Put Alyssa's post up. That's fantastic. I am stealing that.
Right here, the one about not screaming. Don't scream into the phone. Blow a whistle. My grandmother used to do that. Worked
Oh my
great.
God. It's terrible idea. These are real people, by the way, that
Yeah.
you're screaming at. I just want to point that
Yeah.
out that these are real human
As somebody
beings
who's
that
been
you're-
on the other end of the
I-
screaming, I'm a
I-
real person.
I used to do General Motors customer assistance, like when I was like getting out of high school and dealt with American clients. So no, Locke, those are real people. So I don't approve of your.
Hold on.
I don't
hold
know
on.
them, and
Just
they're
a
not
sec.
in front of you, so
Just-
it doesn't really matter. You
Oh
just
my
want to take your
One
frustration
sec.
out on somebody
Hold
on the
on.
other end. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm just gonna look inside my guilt bag to see. No, it's empty.
Can I leave yet?
Yes, there appear to be no fucks in my guilt bag.
that was quite the theater. There, Locke.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, it's
so
not-
great.
it's not a,
Sometimes
like,
I
an
play on the visual
Oscar-winning
aspect of our podcast.
Okay, last question I have for you, and then
Oh
we'll let
my
you go.
God!
No, it's one more. You can go if you want. I just have one more question for JB. The hanging up on people.
Mhm.
Is that a strategy? That happens a lot. And it happens, I
like, hanging
notice
up
when
on
I'm
them?
like, listen, lady,
I get
I
hung up
just
all the
need
time.
someone that can speak the language to talk to. That's
oh
all
my
I want.
God!
And they're like, I'll put you on hold or something like that. And then they put you on hold and they're like, boom, they hang up on you. Is that
So
a
there's-
strategy?
There's two techniques.
So
One
it
that would
is.
get you super fired, and then there's
Yeah.
another that you can kind of trick. I'm sure they figured out a way to fix it now, but there's the hang up, which is the disconnect, right? The second you disconnect from the caller, the screen basically goes blank, and then the next caller comes right in because there's usually a wait, right? So, and you don't have time to leave notes. And if you don't leave notes on an account after you've left it, at least from Roger's perspective, that automatically gives you a coach back. So your boss is going to come see you, right? At some point in time. The other thing you could do, which happens a lot, is call looping. So basically, you're on the phone and you say you don't want to deal with Locke because he's yelling at me about some $3 fee per month. And I say, you know what, sir? Unfortunately, you're not in the right department that can can handle this. I'm going to put you into a
Oh, I get
priority
that
queue
all
with the
the
right
time.
people, and then you just dump them back into the same queue that you are a part of. And since you just finished a call, you go to the bottom of the queue, so they're guaranteed not to get the next person. So
Can I tell my Rogers story?
No. Is it long?
Okay. Yeah, it's really long.
Oh no.
Okay, I've told it before, I think.
Well, then no. If you've already told it, then we don't need to hear it again.
I repeat stories all the time, though.
We know. That's why I'm telling you
Yeah.
we don't need to hear it again. That's what I'm saying.
I'll just say this.
Okay.
It took me 4 hours to get out of a $1,600 bill.
But
I mean,
you
that's
did.
I'm
worth it, though.
impressed, actually. That's impressive.
That's worth it.
They after the
$400
the
an hour,
rules
you said.
changed.
Yeah.
After the rules changed, where they couldn't charge you for a contract, and I jumped to another thing. They were still charging you for your contracts, even though the CRTC regulation has changed, and no one knew this. Yeah, so I phoned them and I said, I've got the law right in front of me. You guys have to remove this. Click bong, click bong, click bong, about 5 times. Finally, I just kept saying, the other thing I was doing was, before we start, I need your ID number. So I was getting the people's ID numbers. So I was writing them down, and then I was going, so-and-so hung up on me, so-and-so hung up on me, so-and-so hung up on me. And finally they put me on hold, and they must have went back and listened to all my calls. As much as I joke about screaming at people, I don't. I'm very forceful, but and there's maybe a bit of yelling. I'm very forceful, but I get my way. And sometimes it takes long. Diplomacy does not work. You guys can all go straight to hell. Being nice takes longer. So you got to be forceful. So I ended up on the phone with somebody, and the woman put me on hold. She goes, I need to check with my supervisor before I scrap a $1,600 bill. And she put me on hold, and I think they went back and listened to all my calls and realized I was going to be there all day. And she got back on the phone after about 35 minutes, and she goes, sir, we've scrapped your bill. Thank you for your time today. Boop. Good. Thank you. Gone.
Click bye.
They had enough of your
Worth
shit
it.
too.
4 hours worth it.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth the $1,600 was worth it to them to get you off the phone.
Yeah. That's what you got to do. You have
It's a
to
technique.
make it painful
It's a
for
technique.
them.
You got to waste their time.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of doing that. Like the guys that call you from, like the other day, Rogers called me about my bill. They're like, well, I'd like to talk to you about your bill. Do you need anything? I'm like, I'm in a dark corner chained to the wall. I need some help.
Yeah.
The lady's like, excuse me, sir? I go, you heard. A dark corner. I hear footsteps. Haven't eaten in weeks. Help me, help me. She's like, where are you? I go, if I knew, I'd get out.
You have your cell phone with you that's fully charged?
Yeah, but I got a fully charged cell phone, and I'm playing a lot of Tetris, so I'm good right now. I said,
I kept
Thanks
a
for
guy
calling. I
on the
needed
line.
to speak with somebody.
I kept a guy on the line for, I think, 35 minutes who was trying to get me a loan.
yeah.
It was a total scam call.
Oh, I'm so
We
vulgar
had
to
him
these
on the
scam
line.
calls.
35
Like, I say terrible things to
I
the
do
people
too.
that want to clean my ducks and tell me my CRA SIN number is being arrested or something
You
like
know,
that.
the new one that I like is
Oh.
like the guy that calls and he's like, please hold for CRA. And you're like, oh, no, please hold for a package. Please
Or
hold because your
Amazon,
package
yeah.
is at the border. Have you guys gotten that one?
Yeah.
Your package is at the border. Please
I
hold. So
actually do have a package at the border that I'm like, is
it's a one time.
No,
God
seriously,
forbid.
I ordered a voiceover thing from California,
Yeah.
and I got an email from UPS being like, "You owe $400." I'm like, please be a scam, please be a scam. And I open it, I'm like, it's
wasn't.
not a scam. Shit. Shit.
That's
I was so
expensive
mad.
duty on that.
I waited.
That's an expensive duty and taxes on that if it's full.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
they-
it was a booth. It was like, yeah.
They
It's,
You don't
screw
need it.
you on
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
So, but that's my pleasure. Like it happens to all my kids. They all got cell phones. They're young men now. They get phones, and it's like, oh, it says likely spam on it. And I'm like, pass it over to your dad. I want to have a little fun. I'm bored as fuck right now. Please give me the phone. And they're like, all right. And then they take the phone, and the other guy records me on it. They've got like volumes of me treating people like shit. It's unbelievable.
I don't
and I
approve
live
of
for it.
this.
The
I
best
one-
is when you get the
I don't
scammers
raise
to
like
break
you.
character. Like
Yeah,
I tell them
yeah.
that I'm going to do terrible things to their mother, and
Yeah.
they're just like, yeah, you're going to do what to my mom? Yeah,
You
yeah.
heard.
There's the human that I know. There's the off script person.
That's it.
There you
There
are.
we go.
Yeah.
My
Where are
phone
you? Where are
rang.
You go to
Whoa.
mother, eh? You go right to the mother. I've done that too, where it's like, tell your
It's
mom
good
the
room.
money's under the pillow, and the guy's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. And you're like, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Like I love when they break character. That's a win because they hang up right away. But if
Yeah.
I can get them to break character even a little bit, confirmed scam at that point.
I had a
Until
call.
it's not, and the CRA is actually calling me for something, and then it's like, oh,
You're
sorry.
home.
Hi, it's
Sorry.
CRA calling. Fuck you. No, it's legitimately
They won't
CRA.
call you.
We actually
will
owe
not call
you
you.
$5,000 in unemployment, but
Fuck you. I can't believe this guy's told CRA to fuck off.
We've been calling you about your return. It's bounced back like 3 times to us. We just want to give you your climate tax return. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean
I had
to.
a call one time during the finale. I was a big fan of Seinfeld. We used
I thought you were
plan
going to say
our
like The
weeks
Masked
around-
Singer or something.
No, Seinfeld. This was years ago. This is when everyone had landlines. And it was during a commercial break, but I'm sitting there watching the show, and we had like a Seinfeld party. We had friends over and we're watching it. And the phone rings, and I'm like, what? So I pick it up, and this woman starts her spiel right away. And I said, hold on. I said, just stop. One sec. I have a question for you. And I said to her, I said, do you know what's on TV right now? She's like, yeah. I said, so you're aware that the season finale of one of the greatest sitcoms of all time is currently playing on my TV and probably millions of homes all over North America. And she's like, yes, I know that. And I said,
Yes.
and
I
they're
know.
making you call people during Seinfeld? She's like, yes. I said, you need to quit and you need to reevaluate your life choices, young woman. And she was so, you could
Next
just,
thing you know, she's knocking on your door asking you to go for a hike because you changed her life and gave her.
she was so
I
distraught.
don't appreciate you taking my
I
situation. and
completely
turning it into-
ruined this woman's life. And it took me 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I made her question every decision she'd ever made in 15 seconds. And I was proud of myself, Marianne, or Mommy 69, whatever you want to call yourself now. I was proud of myself for doing that.
I mean, it was an important finale. I get it.
Yeah,
It was.
It was. And it was a terrible finale, too. At
It
the
was
end of it, you're
horrible.
like, fuck, I should have taken that call. It was a terrible finale. I could have taken that call. I should have paid attention.
Maybe I
Thanks
do
for doing
need
this,
a
guys.
Time sharing. Go.
Good to see you all. Great to see you, Marianne. Hashtag mommy69. That's the best age. Don't forget, you can download Marianne's podcast. It's called Let's Take This Outside. Who's next on the podcast? What do you got for us? Are we foraging for food? What are we doing?
I'm talking to a glacier expert. So we're talking about like climate change and global warming and icebergs and glaciers. I'm very excited about that one. That's
Global warming real?
I asked her. You'll have to find out coming out next Tuesday.
That's a
Tuesday
great
after.
tease.
See that? Is global warming
Like you're a
real?
professional.
Yeah. What's all this climate change stuff?
Yes, climate change.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Let's Take This Outside. Name of the podcast. You can get it. Marianne Ivison's a host. You can follow her at MA on the air on Twitter.
Thank you
is
for
where you can
remembering
find her.
that.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
JB, by the way, really nice to be on the show with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Love it.
Yeah, nice to have JB on. Nest Social is where you can follow him on Twitter. Go and check out his stuff too. If you go to their website, which is nests.social,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, what you can do is you can go and download, you can go and have a look, and the Indiegogo thing's right on the front page. So if you feel like donating to a guy who wants to make the world socially a little bit of a better place and flood the world with pornography, that's, no, I'm kidding about the last part. But if you want to support this guy, I've known JB for a while, and he is a straight shooter, and he wants to do something cool for people, and he wants to do it the right way, and he does a great job. Very bright. So make sure you go and download, subscribe to everything he does. You can get him at Sheep King JB across the spectrum of socials, Twitch, Twitter, etc. Appreciate you being here too, brother. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Anytime.
guys.
Anytime. There's
Good
JB.
to
There's
see you.
Marianne. That is it for us. Lachlan Cross, 9-5. What are you doing? Where are you going? We haven't tied it up.
Okay. All right. Can't.
At Lachlan
Can't.
Cross on Twitter. Thanks for being here. 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. That's it.
That was fun today.
See you Monday.
I saw you trying not to laugh when I was talking about the porn on Nest Social.
I was trying not to laugh. Well, I know JB. First of all, he's going to do an incredible job. And if you want to
He
donate,
is.
you should. But you go to, like, when anybody ever makes anything, like when you make a meal, you don't make a meal for other people. You make a meal for yourself because you're like, if I'm going to eat this, I'm going to make sure that I like it. Same thing with when you create something like a website or, a network or social media platform. You're like, I want it to do what I want it to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a purveyor of fine pornography. It's one of the questions I asked him the other day. I'm like, how much porn are you going to get out? He goes, oh, it'll be not safe for work. And I'm like, yes, that's it. Among other things. Anyway, thanks for doing this, dude.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You bet. Tomorrow, 4:00, right here. DeanBlundell.com. That's where you can find us. You can find us as well on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. On Twitch, Dean Blundell TV. Super simple. Super simple. Really simple stuff. Super easy. Just go to YouTube, Dean Blundell TV, Twitch. Sorry, Dean Blundell Show, Twitch, Dean Blundell TV. Wherever you get your fine podcasts as well. Any audio service, including Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks to everybody for being here. I want to thank our partners over at Cantork. Good people at Cantork. Cantork.com. Head there today if you're in the market for rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts. Colin's going to be with us on Friday, by the way, so he's going to jump in. We're going to talk F1, a few other things. He's also a race car driver. Loves driving race cars with Alex Tagliani. So anyway, that's why he's in this assembly tool expert business. That's what Cantork does. They're out of Edmonton. If you're looking for the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance of beautiful torque wrenches, looseners, fasteners, they got it all. They're a custom fabrication industrial torque tool shop. No matter the scale of your bolting project, they've got your solution. Go to cantork.com for more information. Also, add at Ed's Fine Imports, edsfineimports.com. Do yourself a favor. Go to edsfineimports.com today. Order yourself a pair of Gitch, GITCH3, Gitch3. That's your promo code. You're going to get yourself a brand new free pair of underwear. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Remember that pouch in the front? Everybody starts doing it. Ed perfected it. For Canadian guys, go to edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. Massive selection of clothing for men and boys too online. So check that out. And not done there, kivlaw.ca. If you're looking for a defense attorney, and I mean a really good defense attorney, someone to help you kind of walk through the process of getting out of your legal issues, Southern Ontario's best is kivlaw.ca. Chat Rob right now. You can actually get in touch with him just emailing him, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Ask him a question. Tell him I sent you. He's going to take care of you. Sucks going through legal issues on your own or with terrible representation. These guys are the best. They're my friends, and they'll help you out. Go to kivlaw.ca today for more details. That's it for us. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.